Welcome to New Hampshire Politics with John Burt. I'm John Burt. I want to thank you for joining me today. Today, I have a pretty cool show that I'm going to try to put together for you. Bear with me occasionally. I do have my laptop here, and I do have to look down, so I apologize for that. But I had the honor to, well, hopefully it's an honor. You know, you're going to hear this. It's pretty funny. I went to a conference down in Washington, DC, and I went the first week of December 2013. I want a date when I went there. So when this shows later, people know when I was down there. In the conference, I'll tell you, I just learned an unbelievable amount of stuff. What the conference was, and that's why I laughed about being in Washington, D.C., because it's really not what Washington, D.C. is about. The conference was to show, to teach me and everybody else. I mean, the place was just mobbed. There was hundreds and hundreds of people that attended this conference. And what it taught us was how to work local governments without the federal or state government. That we can do this on our own. We don't need Big Brother telling us what to do here. We don't need, all these grants that occasionally we'll wrap ourselves into, with these long strings attached. We just don't need it. As you know, I've been looking at bringing business to town. I want to do it without any government involvement, or the very minimal, because we have a private sector. They're willing to do it. And all we have to do is make it comfortable here for people in Goffstown, businesses to come, and we're guaranteed they'll come. We just got to open the door and say we're open for business. The private sector is willing to do all this work for us at no cost. And what I want to do is I want to start off with a small video. It's about a minute video. And what it was is I taped it down in Washington when I was there, and then I sent it back up. And Cheryl was going to do a show for me last week. She was going to tape my show. And unfortunately, something came up and she couldn't do it. So I do thank her for attempting to do it. But I really want to make sure that you see this video. And I said, you know what? I thanked Cheryl in it, but it's a great video, and I think it'll show you kind of what I did down there. So let me show you this minute video, and then I'll be right back. All right, hold on. Hi, I want to thank you for joining me today, and I really want to thank Cheryl Anderson for doing my show this week. As you see, I'm not there. Where I am is I'm in DC, and I'm at a conference to study on how to bring businesses to our community without involving the government. As you know, that is always something that I want to do. I want to make sure that government has the smallest amount of involvement in our decisions in Goffstown, because bottom line, we don't need them. We have a private sector that is more than willing to do it at no tax dollars. How can you beat that? And again, I just want to thank you for joining, watching Cheryl today and joining me for a few minutes, and I'll see you probably next week. I'll talk to you later. Bye now. All right, well, you saw that, and that was pretty cool there. The background was just incredible. The sun was out, the sky was beautiful, unbelievable weather. Toward the end of the week, it did rain. I think it was Friday. Well, boy, did we get wet if we went outside. I mean, it just poured buckets down there. But that particular day, and who I was with was another representative down in Merrimack, she is. Lynette Peterson, she was down there. A whole bunch of reps were down there, 6 total from New Hampshire that went down. And there was reps from all over the country. And it was really, your conservative reps that want to learn how to do, to get the best out of government locally without the big government, the federal government coming in. And we, as I said, we can do that. But our first picture that I'm going to pop up, and Lynette and I, we took a tour of the state, the federal capitol, I meant to say, the federal capitol. This building is huge. I could only imagine what this thing cost to run every day. You know, and there's a ton of security, which I guess there needs to be. You know, it was pretty cool, the different things. And the first picture I'm going to bring up, I really want to show you, is this is the old section of the Capitol. And it's Lady Justice with no blindfold. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And when I talked to the tour girl that gave us she was a real good tour girl too. She works under Senator Ayotte, and she's from Nashua, and she lives down there. And what it was is that she said, she gave me a little story about that the justices at the Supreme Court cannot have the blindfold on. And you know, I guess it kind of makes sense. But everywhere else, they have to have the blindfold. You know, the blindfold is that way justice is blind, and you know, they're basing it on just law, not who you are. And let me go to the next picture. That's pretty cool. And you know, that just kind of shows it up in there. And you know, that's really neat. And I'll just jump right through a few pictures if you don't mind, and we'll see what they come up. That's inside the where the old house used to be. And this is General Stark of New Hampshire, and there he is sitting up there. You know, so it was really, really neat watching this, or looking at these. And this is the dome inside the Capitol. And the picture really doesn't do it justice if you ever get a chance. And they're going to be working on this for the next 2 years. So they're going to be closing it down pretty quick. So if you want to see it, get right down there. If not, you're going to have to wait a couple years. The girl told me that those statues, or the pictures, you know, the painting, they're 18 feet tall, those people are. And I'm going, 18 feet? So I just look up and it just, you know, look at them there. And then I'll click right into the next one. This is really cool. Watch this. There's George Washington. You know, I guess he's 18 feet tall, but it doesn't look it. I mean, the building is so big. And then there's Ronald Reagan. If you see under his base of his feet, there's a plate. And then let me go to the next picture and I'll show you. You can almost see it. There's like a blue line under the, I don't know what color that is, almost right across from where the telephone is. There's like a blue-black slab in there. What that is it's the Berlin Wall. And there he is standing on it. So I thought that was really cool that they cut out a piece of the Berlin Wall and that's what they put him on. And so there it is again. That was pretty cool. And then here's Franklin Pierce. This is in the old house section. They don't use it anymore. What was really neat was the girl that gave us the tour. She told us to sit here. You know, we stood right over this. And I don't know if you ever heard this story. I have in the past, and I always wanted to see if it was true, and it is. What she did is she walked to the other side of the room, and then she whispered. And she says, "Can you hear me?" And there's an echo that comes up and over. So Franklin Pierce and I guess a couple others knew about this. And they would sit in their chairs kind of leaning back and not say anything. People thought they were sleeping. And they were like, what are these guys doing? Well, what it was is they were eavesdropping. And I guess, you know, years, I don't know if it took years or what it was, but you know, eventually they figured it out, and I guess they weren't too happy with it. So that's that piece there. And then right here is the plate where it is in the floor, and it's kind of hard to see, but if you go up to the top where the black marble is, I'm guessing what it is, or granite. Yeah, I think it's black granite. There's another plate there, and that's where Lincoln's desk was. And then here's Webster. He's from New Hampshire, and there he is standing there. And they just got a bunch of different statues in there. And now we're back to the Lady Justice. So I'm going to go ahead and go find another section of pictures that I'm doing. And like I said, it was really cool. The girl did an excellent job, you know, down there. And let me show you also, you know, there's 3 pictures that I want to show you, and let me click on the first one. Yeah, there I am. I'm with Senator Ayotte's office. They were on vacation that week. You know, I kind of wished I could meet Senator Ayotte that day. I've met her in the past anyways, but, you know, I just wanted to meet her in her office and get a picture with her. But they were all on vacation. Now, the plus side, the building was empty. Security's a little more relaxed. It was easier to walk in. I mean, of course, you got to go through the metal detectors and all that, you know, empty your pockets. But it was pretty cool to go down there. And, you know, she's down in the Russell building, and I'll show you a picture of that here. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it says the Russell building, and this is around 1920, and I think there's an addition on it. And this building is, you can see it all the way through there. I mean, this thing is just enormous. And then I'll show you the last picture, and this is just outside of the Capitol. And what it is you can see the big steel gate in the back that comes right up. It was pretty cool the way that does that. And you can see the sniffing dog going around, make sure that nothing's there. And there's a big plate right in the front. So once you're in this little section, you ain't going anywheres. Now, I did take pictures of the policemen, you know, because I thought it was cool. Well, I found out down there, just up until a couple of years ago, there was never a law against it. But boy, they'd come right over and grab your camera, and, you know, they weren't too happy. Well, you know, I guess, I don't know what group it was, but somebody went down there and said, you know, we can take pictures of you. So they still aren't happy about it, and you can kind of see that little expression on the guy's face. But I'll go grab another section of photos, and like I said, I had a real good time down there. Now, one picture I'll just pop up all on its own is I want to show you something that we do not have, and I hope we do not have it. This was to park your car. It was $17 to park your car in this garage. I didn't have my car. I flew down. But there was an 18% DC tax just to park your car. And I'm thinking, oh my God, that's a lot of tax. The room tax, well, they called it an occupancy tax. I think that was 14.5% or a little over 14.5%. I mean, they tax you to death down there. And, you know, I'm always fighting against these big expansions, you know, like, you know, some of the programs people want. And if we do it, this is what we're going to end up with, is this 18.5%. And let me grab another section. Yeah, here's outside. Let me pull these up real quick. Here's the Christmas tree out on the front lawn of the Capitol. And I almost think they're calling it the Christmas tree, and I hope they do, because bottom line, that's what it is. Like I said, the background was just a beautiful day. And what's really cool is you can see the big giant dome, and then you can also see those two little domes off to the sides, one on the right, one on the left. That used to be the old House and the old Senate. You know, they don't hold their House and Senate there anymore, but that's where it used to be. And I think the Supreme Court used to share with the Senate, or they were right next to each other, you know, in the same room. And then let me click here, and there's just another picture of, you know, the federal Capitol there. And there's the big statue up on top. I guess the base is 17, I have it written down here. Where is it? Yeah, the pedestal that you see with all the, you know, pedestal, the columns there. It's 18.5 feet high. It weighs 15,000 pounds. Then the statue itself, I think the statue itself is like in 6 pieces, if I remember reading right. That's made of bronze, and that is also 15,000 pounds. How did they get it up there? Because this is a long time ago. This would have been in the mid-1800s, or, you know, even earlier than that when they built this. And just to put that up there, I just don't know how they've done it, because, you know, it'd been all wooden staging. And so I thought that was just pretty cool. And, you know, being built out of bronze, it was built just outside of Washington on the river banks. That's what I read. And so I thought that was pretty neat. And then I'll get a close-up there. There's a close-up of that statue. And that is really, really neat. And then there's another big picture, and that's where I took the video that you just saw. Yep, it was right here is where I took the video. And so that's a real beautiful picture. It came out really, really good. And the leaves are all down there. I mean, it's late enough in the year, but they're picking them up right now, so they're a little late on picking them up. So I'll go ahead and find the next group of pictures. Yep, there's that. And then when we left there, we started walking down through, and then we came up to, this is the World War II memorial. And that was pretty neat. It was pretty impressive when I looked at it. Again, there was almost nobody there. And then I'll skip over to the Vietnam. That's over to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. That was pretty neat. You saw a lot of people around both sections. And there's the wall. I mean, this thing is really long. I mean, it's a, almost takes your breath away with all the names on it. And, you just, you really think about it. And this picture here, when I took it, it's of this gentleman, I don't know who he is. He just took, he was looking at some names there. And just the reflection, once I looked at the picture later in my hotel office, or in my hotel room, and then later in my office when I was looking at it, I just thought to myself, wow, it just makes you really think deep. All those names, and there's this guy, he must have known somebody. Yeah. And so now we're back to that. And so I'll go ahead and find the next section. But it was, pretty touching seeing all that. And we're going to be going over to the Arlington National Cemetery in a couple minutes, once I get there. And then, of course, on the way, there's 3 pictures that I'm going to put up. And here's the first one. This is the Washington Monument. The Washington Monument, this thing is pretty impressive. It was made out of Maryland. Most of it came from Maryland marble, granite, and sandstone. And in 1836, they started raising money. They raised $28,000. Can you imagine that kind of money back in 1836? They said in 2011, that's equivalent to $15.2 million. The total cost, when I looked it up, to build the Washington Monument was $1 million. In 2011, that was the figure they had. It was $543 million if they replaced it today. Now, in 1999, they had a big fix, and they encased all of it with this staging, just like they did here. And I'll zip to the next picture. But then 2 years ago, they had this big earthquake down there. I don't know if you remember that, but they had a lot of cracks. So that's why the staging's back. They're tearing it down now, and there's the workers tearing it down. The fix was, and if you see, it's really hard to see it, but if you really look hard, you can see the guys, every one of them's got a strap on them, which they should. So that way if they accidentally slip off, they're just going to dangle there, which is probably not very comfortable, but, it's never the fall that will kill you. It's the, when you hit the ground, that's going to really bounce you around some. And, so luckily, these guys are, it looks like they're pretty well safetied in there. Whoops, let me back up to, but there's that. And it was just pretty cool. So, this fix that they just did was $15 million. And they had a picture of where all the stones were that were damaged in the earthquake. So in 1999, we spent a lot of money, which probably was good, because what it did is, probably shored things up and made sure that it was okay and really, a good looking structure. And then, so it survived the earthquake, because I wonder about that. And then I'm going to go to the next pictures and let me find that. Yeah, here's the Lincoln Memorial. That was, pretty impressive. That was, huge. You know, he stands right up there. And so that was pretty neat seeing that. And then when I was at the Lincoln Memorial, all of a sudden I could hear this helicopter, so I zoomed out there and took a look, and I don't think President Obama was in the helicopter because there was only one, and from what I understand, I think they travel 2 or 3 of them when he's around just to make sure that in case something happens, you know, the bad guy don't know which one to shoot down. And, you know, luckily the Secret Service, they do a good job protecting, you know, any president that we have, which they need to, regardless of who it is. And, you know, they do an excellent job. You know, they want to make sure that nothing happens. Now, in the conference, I do want to talk about this gentleman here. And let me just cross off some stuff so I can make sure that I'm stay on track here. This gentleman here, one of the conferences was expanded Medicaid, compassionate or corrosive. And it was a real good a meeting that I went to. And here is the gentleman. His name is Moise Brutus, and he is trying out, he's a triple amputee, and he's trying out for the 2016 let me, if I can say it right, you know, it's for the Olympics, almost kind of like for cyclists. And in 2010, he had a major motorcycle accident down in Florida, and he explained his situation. He said that if we expand Medicaid, which, you know, will bring the level of, you know, right now if you 0 to 100% of poverty, you can be on Medicaid. If you go up to 138%, what he said, oh, let me write that down. Look, I think I got a note what he said exactly. Well, I did, and well, and of course I misplaced. Oh, here it is. Sorry about that. Who will benefit from this, and I agree with him, is he said childless adults that can work. They shouldn't be on this. That's not what this is designed for. It is not what it was built for. It was to take care of the truly needy, which he's definitely one, and our elderly, and our people that, you know, are truly in the poverty line. That's what that expanded Medicaid. So let me jump to the next picture, and there's just a picture of me, shaking his hand earlier. And, matter of fact, I got his contact information, and he said he would love to tell his story, because he does. He goes around the country and tells his story, and he said he'd love to do a Skype with me. So I said, absolutely, because I told him I got this little TV show. And he says, hey, if you got viewers, I love telling my story. So at some point I'll have him on. And then let me see this here. This is the next picture. That's Jefferson there, the statue. And then if you notice, that's the New Hampshire flag up on the stage right in the center. And this is Ted Cruz, Senator Cruz. He did an excellent job explaining how government is just too big. We need to bring it back to the state control, and the state needs to bring it back to the local control. Right now, we're being dictated by the federal government, and that is not what our founding fathers, set up for us. And that's basically what this, seminar was. And let me see, and then we're back to that big tax, and I want to make sure that we don't go into that. Well, let me click out of there. And then what we'll do is we'll jump right over, as long as I did. I got all the pictures here. Now I want to show you a few pictures first, and then I'll go ahead and show you some videos. And this is pretty impressive. Here's the first picture. Every day, I didn't realize this, but there's 25 to 30 funerals at the Arlington National Cemetery. And when I heard that, I went, wow, that's incredible. But you know, it was really incredible too, because I never really, thought about World War II. It was huge. And let me jump to the next picture and I'll finish my story. And in order to get this, the bus driver, because somebody asked the question, we were taking a tour. You pay a little bit and then you can take a tour of the place, ride a bus all day, or, the 2-3 hours you're there, because you can definitely chew up a half a day there. He said in order to get this type of a treatment, this gentleman here, or lady, because there's a lot of women buried there, they had to be pretty high up. Just your regular military probably wouldn't get this treatment. But what surprised me is it might have been in the mid 90s or 98, somewhere's in there. I was reading this article in the newspaper one time, and they said 1,000 World War II vets were dying every day. And I'm thinking, 1,000? Oh my God, that's a lot of people. So I'm thinking, all right, in a year, they'll run out. Well, I guess not. I guess there was millions that fought in that war. I didn't, it really made me think about it. So what happened is, with that, it's just incredible how many people. Now, I know the majority of military do not get buried there, but you can if you want to. And let me look for the next picture. Where is it? And I'll be playing a short little video of this too. I want to show you, I did videotape some of the funeral there, and it's pretty impressive. When you look at it, you go, oh my God. And every step of the military is, just perfect. I mean, I don't know if they practice all day or I think they're just that good. Extremely dedicated, these guys are. And and here's another picture. Here's to the Tomb of the Unknown, and I'm going to be showing a short video of that too. That was pretty impressive. And I'll look for the next video here and see what happens. Oh yeah, and let me. Yeah, there's a video coming up here. The next three pictures. I'm sorry, pictures. There's the first gentleman, the guard, and they walk back and forth. And in the video, you'll see they stand there perfectly. I mean, just everything is perfect on them. And then all of a sudden, they start walking, and it's pretty impressive on how they do it. And there's the Tomb of the Unknown. Most of you know that I'm from the old Vermont when it used to be conservative over there. Most of this is Vermont marble. Back in the late 1800s, Vermont was huge in production of marble down in Proctor. They still do some. But the representatives and the senators down there were, I guess they were pretty high up. And here's the next picture. They were pretty high up. So they had a lot of power down in DC, and they made sure that Vermont marble was being used. So it was pretty funny how that turned out that way. And then still today, they said there's 25 to 30, stones being made every day, and it's all Vermont marble. So I thought that was just kind of cool being from there. And let me go ahead and I'll look up. I think there is. Yeah, that's it for now. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the video of the changing of the guards. I didn't tape the whole thing. I only taped small sections of it. But what just surprised me is like I said, I'll start the video and then I'll go ahead and keep talking a little bit, and then when I'm done, you'll just finish watching the video, and then I'll be right back. But there's quite a wait list to get in here, for these military men to do this. And then they do 1-hour shifts. That's all they have to do. But it's any time. Remember when they had the hurricane down there? Snowstorms, the nor'easters, it doesn't matter. There is somebody walking there. There is somebody marching. It's just incredible. And then underneath the tomb, I think it's back a little bit underneath the building. That's where they live. These people live. The guards. I'm not sure how many are down there. I should have checked. That would have been pretty neat to find out. So I'll have to look that up sometime. It was really cool seeing this. And like I said, the storms, they don't care. They're sitting there and they march back and forth. And as you see, throughout the video, the one guy that doesn't have the rifle, but he's doing all the checking, making sure everything's perfect. And, especially when he was grabbing the gun in the video and he's, bringing it back and forth. That's, when you're sitting there, your eyes are just huge. So hopefully most of you have been down there, and if you haven't, I'm really glad that I could bring this video to you, because it's pretty impressive. And then the last thing I was just going to mention is at the end of the video is really cute, is this squirrel. You can see him kind of bobbing along, like la 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 la. He's just moving over there, and get out of my way. And I guess he's has his own mind where he's heading. So it was just funny the way he jumped into the picture. And so I'll let you watch the rest of the video, and then I'll be right back. All right.
In keeping with the dignity of this ceremony, it is requested that everyone remain silent and standing. Thank you.
All right, I hope you enjoyed the whole video there. Like I said, it was pretty impressive. Really makes you think. Oh, I did hear one other little tidbit. Where is that? Yeah, it's right here. Like I said, they do 25 to 30 funerals a day. They opened up a couple new sections. In your old sections, you got the Vermont marble stone. That's what was given to you for free. And then they'd put you there. And if the family wanted to, they could build a bigger stone and send it down and have it, put in there. So in the old sections, that's all you see is, the little stones, the big stones, they're all over the place. But to save on room, because they're a little concerned that they're going to run out, they're saying right now that they have about 70 years, that's what they're estimating, before it's full on what they estimate, the amount of people that want to be buried there. And I know Bosquen, I think in New Hampshire, they have our own military. So a lot of our local, military people, when they pass, will be buried up there. But then, I just had this friend die, December Christmas there. He died in 2012, and he's over in New Paltz, New York, so he didn't want to be buried down there. And I guess most people want to be buried near their family, but some don't. They want the honor of being down there, and it's quite an honor. Let me bring up the website. I kept forgetting to mention that, and it's on the screen there if you want. And it's arlingtoncemetery.mil, and that's .mil. And this is the site. So if you go on there, you can see, who's there, and it's pretty impressive on how, the website is, and they'll, you can hook up a tour and all that. It'll show you some different stuff. So I thought that was pretty neat. This is a pretty informational website. So make sure you check it out. But I'm going to go to the next picture here. Yeah, and there's the next picture. And there's about a 16-second video that I'm going to show, right here. And what you notice as we're driving to the next spot is all the stones. They're just perfectly straight right down through. And it just, I just go, how did they do this? But they do. It's pretty impressive. And so that was the last picture there. Let me see if there's any more, and pictures, and I think that's about it on some of the pictures. Yeah. I think we covered pretty much everything. But like I said, whoops, here, let me just bring up. Yeah, one last picture. No, that's it. I did cover all of them. And like I said, they were pretty impressive. Some of the pictures that came out, and the Capitol was, just everything that I visited down there. And like I said, a good friend, Representative Lynette Peterson, she dragged me around. Hopefully I look a little thinner, because I'll tell you, she dragged me from the Capitol all the way down to the Lincoln Memorial. And she said there was a couple times she was going to tie a rope around me and drag me, but because I was slowing down on her. She moves pretty fast, but I just had a great time. They did allow us some time off to go here, but what was really neat was especially the seminars. I was a voting member. They got me in early enough in November. They signed me up, so I was allowed to vote on a few things. And what it is it's basically one of the votes that I took. It says that government, legislators, and it's kind of a rule book that we try to go by, will not get involved in private contracts, which I agree, we shouldn't. A private business gets in, contract with another private business. It's none of our business. They signed the papers, and they want to make sure that we don't do that. And that was a no-brainer for me. I voted for it, and I said absolutely we shouldn't. So that was pretty good. And like I said, they just try to teach us on how to keep government at bay the best we can. It's federalism, which I really didn't understand the term, and that's what they called it. And what federalism is, and when I first heard it, I was like, huh? What is that? And I took this orientation. It was a couple-hour seminar one morning, and what they told me is the founding fathers set us up where locally we ran everything. Then it went to the state. The state, had some control over different things, like laws and, regulate what police do and stuff like that. So I understand that part. So there was a partnership there. The federal government really was not involved in our lives, almost none. And where they were is if there was a major disaster or the military. You know, I understand we have to have that military, you know, which I support. But then with the, you know, the disasters, you know, the towns in the state took care of it first, and then they reached out to the federal government and said, hey, look, you know, we got 30 bridges or 100 bridges or whatever it is. You know, we need help on fixing these and repairing them, but we got everything covered. And that's when the federal government would come in. You know, today, you know, the second it rains a little, everybody's looking, going, oh my God, what's the government going to do? You know, and that's what we got to get away from. And that's what federalism is it really brings everything back to the local level. And that's where it should be. And like I said, you know, we got a huge private sector that is willing to help us run this and to keep everything good, you know, bring business to town. We can do it. So, you know, like I said, I just had a great time down there. I just wanted to bring you all these pictures. And the best thing that I learned was just, you know, how we can do it. We can do it without the federal government. And I'm like, yes, this is what I've been reaching for. So again, hopefully you liked all the pictures. It was just incredible, especially, you know, the inside of the state, you know, the federal capitol. I don't know why I keep calling it state. The federal capitol, it's just enormous. You know, anytime you can take a tour down there, you guys really should. And I did get over to the Smithsonian a little bit. I didn't, you know, Lynette has those pictures, so if I think of it, I'll try to bring a few in at some point. But I don't think there was anything major there. I mean, it was really cool. But, you know, these pictures are just really good. And I'm glad that you enjoyed everything. And so I'll be wrapping it up. And, you know, there it is again, the Capitol. And like I said, you know, I really thank you for watching. And I'll see you next week. And have a good day now. I'll talk to you later. Bye.